really... Oh god, she's now pregnant as well. I really need to off him. Most distressing. Most distressing. Is there anyone else useful I can do? No? Right. Offing him it is. I can't because I'm too young. Well, in 1 year's time I'll be old enough. I could try to marry the Queen of Castile. And she will say yes. Well, it's not quite becoming King of France. But I think that's something I would do. Try to become Queen of Castile and Leon. So I'm going to try to engage myself. And this is what happened a lot. Lots of marriages happen like this. Lots of trying to marry your way up the ladder. Marrying yourself to queens and stuff. Also, now that I'm a more powerful duke, and I already had a retinue, which is this Angevin army here. This is a skirmish retinue by the looks of it. Retinues are available for, on this tab, they're available for those with Legacy of Rome. And they allow you to have a bit of a standing army. Not much of one, as you can see. Very tiny one, in fact I probably wouldn't even bother. They don't cause any penalty with your vassals or anything, they're not levies, and you can have them up all the time. You can even declare war whilst they're up. But they cost you a bit of gold every month. Very tiny bit. And they cost you a lot of gold to reinforce. So when these troops start dying, it costs you a lot. You have to hire them for, again, more gold. They start becoming very useful in larger numbers because you can precisely calibrate how many troops you have and things like that. And they also have vast standing armies, so you can just go straight to a rebellion as it happens. They can be a bit of a liability, because if you get attacked by a nearby power, so if I was still in Vermandois and the Holy Roman Empire attacked me, and I had retinue standing there, they might just get stomped over. I'm probably safe over here. A daughter and a son. And, however, I can now marry the Queen of Castile, so I gain a lot of prestige from this. And the House of Jimena is also quite prestigious, so this will work out well. And our sons will be Kings of Castile, Leon, and so forth. Wonderful. And I have become a tough soldier. So, ambitions. Well, apparently I can't want to have a son, which is a shame. I'm going to try to become a marshal though. The dream of leading troops in the service of my liege, honest. And I think in keeping with that, I'm going to go for war, because I'm hoping that I'm going to fabricate a claim on Brittany before this is out. And so, yeah, I'm going to go for war. Well, I can't aim to have a son because I'm not yet married. Oh well, I'm just betrothed. I'll gain some prestige, thank you very much. Prestige is useful for making my vassals like me, and I have a lot of those now, that's more important. Now I can challenge him to a duel, because, presumably because, you know, he murdered my father, or he attempted to murder my father. I don't know that he did murder my father, but given that he tried, well, now, there is a way to find out someone's personal combat skill, but I can't remember what it is. I should be okay with it though. Brave, my personal combat skill. Nothing else seems to. Well, if I die, I will just betroth myself to betroth my heir to the Queen again. I think it's a matter of honour that I should do this. So let's go, challenge him. This could end very badly. And the day of duels arrived. Well, he starts aggressive and throws attacks at me, which I block, and I fainted. I can either show him no mercy, or show him mercy. Given that he killed my father, I will become known as merciless for a very long time. Killed my father though. Killed my father. Mercy, killed my father. I am kind. So I suppose it'd be vaguely in keeping that I should. I'll let him go this time. I can now press a claim on Maine if only that war was still going on with England, because that should be de jure part of Anjou. These two are actually only my de jure territories, Berry and Anjou. I also own these territories and that one over there, which is not that uncommon. There were bits of land all over the place. I don't quite like it in the way it's done, as I said, because you can't become a liege of become a vassal of multiple different rulers with respect to different fiefs. It becomes a bit spotty in some ways, but I don't mind it too much. What I am going to do though is I'm going to try to plot to revoke the county of Grognard, which I can do, because, well, partly because I want it, and partly, but mainly because he's got two counties, so yeah, I get the option to revoke plots of any of my vassals who have more than one county, to make sure they're as weak as possible. In some respects it won't matter because it's going to get split, but I'm going to do it now. There we go. He might object. He might object. Well, I've gathered my troops just in case. So, I'm just going to up my centralisation back to where it was. And I'm also going to point out that because I'm a king, my headgear has changed. So I don't know if you've noticed, as we've gone through, while the headgear is based on culture, it's also based on rank. If I find a count, there's not much going on here, so some clothes, that's about it. A duke then gains this nice sort of coronet, or circlet they have going on here. A king has this crown, and then an emperor has an even bigger crown. And all these actual graphics are based on culture, so the Basilius, or Basilissa, has a slightly different crown. And this Russian guy has another different crown. So they're based on sort of historical crowns that actually existed for that culture. And I'm a king now, not by my land, but by marriage. So I am King of Castile, and I'm known as King Herbert of Castile, but I'm also Duke of Anjou, and so on and so forth. So I have a nice crown now, which is excellent. Who doesn't want a crown? Yes, I am going to have to go to war with this guy, with my brother, my little brother. It's not as certain a victory as I thought it might be, but oh well, I'm sure I'll survive somehow. I do have more troops than him, so in theory it should be possible. I need to find somewhere where there isn't a river. Unfortunately, there's a river pretty much everywhere from Bourges and all the neighbouring places. Except what? Again, I apologise to anyone whose languages I'm butchering. My vassals are all teaming against me at this point. So if oh, the war has become inconclusive. Oh. I don't know how that happened. Now an inconclusive war. He's not died or anything. I'm just going to count my blessings. It normally happens when something substantial changes. Yeah. I'm going to leave it. Interesting. I could plot to kill my brother. Which would mean I'd gain both those provinces. I would be known as a kinslayer for that. So I probably won't do that just now. Just now. Well, we'll see how things go. What I could do at this point is fabricate claims on the lands and gain just cause to revoke it, but I'm still trying to fabricate on Brittany. Although I've just realised that my new Chancellor is atrocious. Really atrocious. He's only 11. So we can't actually fabricate a duchy, we can only fabricate a county. So are there any independent county? Yes, I'll try and fabricate on sons. I'll just take that. Which of my bishops? My bishop likes me. My one bishop now. Well, I'll just try and secure it in Anjou. Don't really have anything to scheme about, so I'm going to just make sure. I'm going to do the scheme action, and what scheme does is it has a chance of uncovering plots, and it also can be used against your vassals if they're in the factions against you. So just in case anyone tries to start a plot against me, I'm going to go there. And there seems to be something going on down south. The Duke is plotting to revoke the country of Melville. Well, good for you. Let's have a look at the realm tree. I've still got the king imprisoned. He still doesn't like me. I'm still quite a weak vassal in the scheme of things. The Duchess of Anjou is still very powerful, and the Duke of Toulouse and the Duke of Flanders. That's partly because I'm quite new and my brothers don't like me very much. And I'm over here. Hopefully that number will start bumping up as time goes on. Yeah, getting married to the Duchess of Anjou would be quite useful. These are the relative strengths they are of the liege. And as you can guess, these add up to more than 100% here. And the reason for that is that your liege can only call some of your troops. A percentage of them. So, for instance, I can only call an amount of my troops based on how much they like me. And the maximum I can call is I think it's 80% of their levies that I can call, due to my levy law. And the king, and depending on the crown laws, there's a minimum they can call. And there's no crown law, so the minimum I can call for my vassals is 0. And the maximum I can call is 80%. And they don't like me. Minus 27. He likes me a bit, but he has no troops. So, and she's still a vassal of the King of France. She has still not popped her clogs, my mother. That'll give me a second county at least. Tours converted to Catholicism, I didn't realise it wasn't. Must have been a heresy wandering about. Yes, must have been. Ah, and finally I have enough technology points. So, this is the technology screen in full. It's divided into 3 sections: military, economy and culture, which relate to the marshal, the steward and the well, the priest, whatever the priest is called, in this case a court chaplain. These increase your troops, these 3, based on whether they're light infantry, so light infantry or archers, heavy infantry or pikemen, cavalry. Also increase the time it takes for you to siege stuff, and decrease the time it takes for you to siege stuff, and increase the time it takes for others to besiege you. Increase the amount of ships you get, and increase your military organisation, which increases your retinues. So and removes the pagan homeland attrition penalty I mentioned earlier. So I'm going to go for this one, but first, before I do that, I'm going to show you what my retinue is at the moment. So my retinue at the moment is my retinue cap is 470 retinue points, and my current retinue is 350. So that should go up from 470. In addition, my the penalty I've got for this pagan homeland attrition is quite high, so I can only get 657 troops there before I suffer attrition. So if I up this military organisation, what I should see is my retinues will go up, and my supply limit will go up generally across the board, the amount of troops I can host in the province, and the pagan homeland attrition will go, and then the morale of armies will go up very slightly. So I should go from 470 to 539 now, so quite a bit higher, and the pagan attrition is gone, so it's gone from 600 odd to 5.7. And at that point it's now safe to really invade these pagans because their homeland attrition is gone, which kind of simulates how this is when they did start sort of dying out. Back to technology. Economy all affects buildings really, so these are barony upgrades, city upgrades, temple upgrades, more upgrades particularly to do with walls, which affect your fort levels, trade practices, which affect ports, which give you money and ships from cities, but also amount of trade posts you can have, which is more useful for republics, or for lieges of republics, and construction, which reduces how much stuff costs. Now, I've not really built many buildings yet. I'm going to start doing that now that I've reached Anjou, which I quite like. But I'm going to advance my castle infrastructure because it's my barony. And then there's culture. This mainly affects how much people like you, so feudal opinion, city opinion, temple opinion, how much prestige and piety you gain in short reign years, which can be useful, especially when you're smaller. The penalty for different cultures, which is irrelevant for me really, as I'm in France. And legalism. Legalism unlocks higher crown authority and centralisation laws, as you can see, and also higher other sort of laws. In earlier versions of the game, it increased, it increased the size of your domain. However, that's been folded into centralisation, which is a lot better, I find. I'm still going to up legalism, even though it's... In fact, I'll up legalism last, because I don't really care anything for it at the moment. So I'm going to up... Ooh. My piety prestige is doing quite well these days, so I'm just going to up my noble customs to make my vassals, my feudal vassals, like me a bit more. And then I'm going to build something. So if I click on a holding, we get this screen which has all the buildings in it. These ones require more technology, and these ones this costs me money and time. I generally find that at the beginning of the game, it's too useful to be able to get mercenaries, so it's not really worth getting buildings. Especially as I'm conquering land from my opponents at the moment anyway, so they're upgrading the buildings for me. Castle, town, and these kind of chain of it. There's lots of different chains of buildings in each of them, as indicated by this number. There's always the fort level. There's the fortifications, which are just fort level, and there's the walls, which also affect other things, tax income and levy size. Your keep, which affects your overall levy and garrison size. And these kind of three buildings are basically the same across bishoprics and cities. So if I find... yep, the militia training ground for cities, for instance, does the same thing as the keep. Only the base troops are lower. But then these other buildings are all different. And there's always one building, at least one building, like the castle town, which just increases your tax. So as you can see the difference, the castle town is 6 income. And the cities upgrade is 12 income. So you can see the sort of difference in scale there. And the bishoprics is 4. Or, well, it would go up to 6 by the time I'm just a low level. Each of the citizen holders has different focuses, so baronies are troops. As you can see, more troops, more retinue, more reinforcements, more troops, more troops, more troops, and more troops. This last building is a cultural building, which depends on my culture. Because I'm French, I can get heavy cavalry. Cities are just money, bit of light infantry, more money. If this was on a coast, you could get a port here as well. And then technology. Technology spread rate from university is fantastic. And then bishoprics are halfway between the two. Bit of technology spread rate, bit of money, bit of tax. Slightly heavier infantry. And that changes a bit by culture. Mosques for Muslims, for instance. Mosques have pretty similar things to bishoprics, except that because Muslim rulers can hold them, they're feudal rulers, they function slightly differently in some ways. Here's an example of another thing that only sort of temple holdings have, this piety to liege bonus. This means that not the holder of the mosque, but the ruler of the county itself gains a piety bonus over time, each month from it. So there's lots of these little bits of holdings here and there. So as say the monastic school gives 0.05. So I'm going to build as I can. I want some more troops, I think. Oh, they're expensive. They are expensive. Well, I have my steward here collecting money, so I'm going to do the castle town. It takes a very long time to get this amount of money back. This holding generates 12. If I set my steward to collect taxes, it goes to 16. So 412 gold will take me a long time to get back. Actually, I don't think I'm going to be playing that long. So I'll go back to my previous option. I'm going to go for... I'm going to go for some nice stables from light cavalry. As you can see, the jousting list, being a culture building, has this special heavy cavalry attack bonus. In addition to just providing troops, all the cultural buildings provide this percentage bonus to make all troops better. Or rather, all troops of that type. Heavy cavalry are very nice. They're Very, very nice units. The English, who haven't formed yet, there's a melting pot event that causes Normans and Anglo-Saxons to become English. The English and the Welsh get really, and the Scots get really quite good pikemen and archers, and things like that, but we have knights. Apparently I'm going to become a student of strategy, learning from Alexander the Great, so my marshal's going up further. Surprised I'm not being made marshal, it might be because I'm slightly imprisoning him. Now, if Shield doesn't have enough money to pay a ransom, does that be 104? That'd be what? 200 gold? 250 gold, we can't afford it. And he's cruel. And he's apparently focusing on seduction whilst imprisoned, which is very impressive. Yes. The Capetians actually took France off the Karlings. They were made in a similar way to the Karlings took it off the Merovingians, I believe. The Karlings made themselves mayors of the palace, so kind of rulers of the, even if not heads of the state, and they steadily collected more and more power. Excellent, I might have a son in the works. And then the Capetians steadily took it off, and just kept it since. The Capetians, it was something known as the Capetian miracle. The Capetians, or at least their cadet branches of de Bourgogne, de Blois, d'Anjou, a different d'Anjou, ended up ruling France for about 800 years. They basically only, the Capetians were still ruling when Napoleon became emperor, and there was a French Revolution and things like that. The Capetians lasted under the single dynasty for a very long time. As I said, called the Capetian miracle because keeping a dynasty in power that long didn't really happen anywhere else. I could release him. He would like me a bit more, but he wants my land, so no. Even the Normans, of House of Normandy, they switched hands over time. The early England you can see here being held by the House of Wessex. Also, quite a long time for the Knutlings, so-called due to King Canute. So sort of arbitrarily named Knutlings long before Canute was really allowed, but they lasted quite a while as well. Then poor House of Godwin, one king, Harold, and this other long-standing dynasties, I think it's the Bagratones in Georgia. So they've ruled for quite a while as well. I think they trace their origins back to Spain or something. And they continued to rule for several hundred years after this, if I remember correctly. In the Muslim realms, it was even faster succession. The Almoravids gave way to the Almohads, and they themselves took over from the Umayyads. And then there were the Marinids and Almanids and someone else. Over here, the Fatimids gave way to the Ayyubids, because of Salah al-Din, and they gave way to the Mamluks and the Ottomans and so on and so forth. And I have a son, Alain. I'm going to call him Charles. Charles seems like a good name, like Charlemagne. So I'm going to call him Charles. Is there anyone I can marry him to yet? Ah! I am now a master of strategy. So, go me. Getting a bit of stewardship too. Wonderful. Anyone I can marry my son to yet? Not really. Not at the moment. No one useful. Although that's a brilliant daughter. Look at it. This genius girl. Wonderful. +5 stats. What's that? How can I click on her? Now, this may look a bit silly, dear viewers, but they changed the interface a bit recently, so I can't actually remember how you click onto someone from that screen. Don't think you can. Oh well. I might actually marry my son to her, just because it would get a claim on the Duchy of Normandy, as well as the fact that she's a genius and she has wonderful stats, huge tracts of lands. Although she's already 10, so she'll be 26 by the time my son comes of age. she might not even get a claim because she's far, far down. It'll be a weak claim. The trials and tribulations of a feudal ruler. I'll leave it for now. I have a few years before I have to do anything. And the AI won't marry anyone off until they're actually 16, so they won't betroth people. Oh, that looks dangerous. Someone's going to kidnap me, I can see it now. Ooh, maybe not. I'm becoming a warrior. Good for me. This personal combat skill, as you see there, is separate from martial. It used to all be kind of the same thing, and now it's separate for things like duels. My son. It's Castile, Leon, Anjou, Berry, and Lyon. It is something that also is slightly peculiar is that because titles are very fixed, someone can be both the Duchess and the Queen of Lyon, even though they're basically off the same place. It'd be nice if there's some kind of dynamic system whereby duchies and kingdoms could be attached to each other, so if one was the Duke of a place and the King of a place, the duchy would be renamed to another title. But it's hardly a terrible thing. It's particularly poignant for places like Lyon, where the duchy is named specifically after the area. So it's not like being the King of Spain, where there's not really a province called Spain. You wouldn't really care if someone was both the Count of somewhere in Spain and then the King of Spain. It doesn't really matter because they're not the same place. But it kind of depends how the title evolved, because some places became counties named after the city. So I think Verdun was like that. And I'm fairly certain... God, there's one place I can't remember the name of it. But there's a number of places, they're just the counties named after cities and places like that. And then they became duchies, because the people became quite important. I think that's kind of what happened with places like Anjou. It was first a county, and then it became a duke because it was important. And then the same happens, they get more senior. So Hanover, because a duchy which became a kingdom, because it became sort of elevated. It was the same place, it just became more important in the eyes of everyone. Same with Wessex. Wessex started off as a small province, a small petty kingdom, became a bigger kingdom. However, some places, when they become larger areas, they sort of gain more grand titles over the larger area. So the Kingdom of Wessex became the Kingdom of England, or I suppose more properly, they were the king of all West Saxons, and then became the king of all of the Saxons, or all of the English. So sometimes the titles just evolve from a smaller place, and sometimes they become from the peoples. It's worth pointing out, even here when we're calling King of France and King of England and so on, people didn't really call themselves kings of territory at this time. They were the kings of the people, which is why sometimes you get a bit slightly different succession for the kingdoms as opposed to the feudal places beneath them. So the Holy Roman Emperor, for instance, was king of the Germans, king of the Romans. He wasn't king of Germany. It's kind of equates to be a very similar thing, but this is where bearing that in mind if you read about some of the old bits in, say, in Wikipedia, which there are handy links to if you find a historical character anywhere. There will be a Wikipedia link. I can't find it anymore. Where is it? There we go. If you click on that, you get a Wikipedia link that pops up, the Wikipedia page for this person. This happens for lots of historical people. There's Wikipedia pages for hundreds and thousands of these people. You can click on them and see great things. It's actually really good. I recommend doing it. I won't, because it'll open it up in your window and I will stop playing. And I'll probably get distracted by Wikipedia for ages. But I recommend it at some point if you do play the game. But then you'll see that they'll be called Kings of the Franks and King of the Germans rather than France and Germany. And that'll be why. Now that I've started talking about Wikipedia, I might actually go and read up on some things to sound knowledgeable for the next session, especially as my mother is still not dead. So I think this will be the end of the episode. And Tuscany is still fighting its last, but it won't be there for much longer. So next episode we'll hopefully find out if I ever manage to fabricate a claim again, and maybe I'll take Maine. Bye everyone.